the areas that are going to be on your test are going to be first the stuff that we did with simple interest, and you got that formula right in front of you. Okay, so simple interest. Okay, then different questions involving compound interest. All right, and when we're doing compound interest, we got interest that's compounded once a year, and then you got interest that's compounded more than once a year. Okay, so here we've got interest that's compounded annually. You got to know how to do that. And then you got to know how to compound interest like month or quarterly, monthly, daily, and continuously. Okay, so that formula right here, that's the third formula on our sheet right here. That's this one. Okay, this is when it's compounded annually, and then this one is when it's compounded continuously. So you just got to make sure that you're using the correct formula. Okay. All right. Then you're going to need to know how to find the beginning amount. Beginning amount. Okay. Then you're going to need to know how to find the time period. Time period. That's what we did yesterday with the logs. That one uses the logs. And then the last thing on it is going to be APY, annual percent yield. So those are the types of questions you're going to see on the test. It'll be like 10, 15 questions. Okay? Alrighty. So let's take a look at that. Okay, it says calculate the amount of interest that you'll have at the end of the indicated period. You invest $500 and it pays simple interest for 1 year. So this formula that I'm pointing at, that gives you the accumulated amount, how much you end up with. So in order for you to get the interest, this is just asking you for the interest. So once we're done, what we're going to do, we're going to get our accumulated amount, and we're going to subtract our starting amount, and that's going to be equal to our interest. All right, so the accumulated amount, A, equals P, 1 plus the APR. Now what's different is that the Y isn't the exponent. You're just multiplying by Y. Okay, so that's the formula I'm pointing at here. Okay, so we don't know A, but we know we're putting in $500. 1 plus times, and we're just doing it for 1 year. Okay. All right, now what gets people mixed up is the order in which you do these things. All right, so when you're inside the parentheses, the first thing you got a multiplication and an addition. You have to do this first. Now in this case, it really doesn't change anything. Okay, but it would if that number was something other than a 1. All right, so we're going to go 0.04 times 1. That doesn't change anything. But if it was other than 1, it would change stuff. Okay. So then I've got that times 1, which doesn't change anything. Then I add it to 1. Then, so once I've done that, this whole part here now becomes 1.04, and now I'm going to multiply that by my 500. Okay, now that's not the answer. That's how much money you got. Okay, so times 500. Okay, so I end up with $520. Okay, so the interest that I earned was, if I ended with 520 and I started with 500, that means I earned $20 in interest. Now, obviously, you use your values. All right. Stop me if I'm going too fast, okay? Calculate the amount of interest. So here again, this is just asking you for interest. So you're going to take your accumulated amount and you're going to subtract what you started with, and that's your interest. Okay, simple interest, so we're using the same formula. One plus, let's see, AR times the number of years. Okay. .02 times 4. Okay, so here's what I was talking about. The order in which you do this matters. So you have to do this first. Then you add the 1 second. And then we're going to multiply, we're going to multiplication third. Okay, so the order does matter. Okay, so here we go. 0.02 times 4 years. Okay, add 1. And now multiply. Okay, and my accumulated amount is 46.9 for me. Yours is going to be different. Take away what you started with. 43.5. Okay, so minus 43.5. And there's your difference. $3,480 in interest. $3,480 in interest. So that's how much your money grew. Alrighty. So let's see. Check the answer. Next question. All right. So now what you notice when you read these guys, just read them carefully, because now the formula changes. It says use compound interest formula. All right, so there's 3 compound interest formulas. These 3 right in the middle. 1, 2, 3. All right, the one that you're going to use on this one, it says assume the interest is compounded annually. So I'm going to use the second formula right here that I'm pointing at. A equals times 1 plus R. Now the year is in the exponent. So you do that first. You do your exponent second. And then you multiply by 5,000 third. First, exponent 5, that was second, multiply by 5 grand third. Okay, so we look at the 7 and it says round that up to a 9. So it's going to be 29. 6, 7, 5. Right there. Yeah. How did I do the power? Oh, okay. So I'll do it again here. I'm going to clear it. So I go 1 plus 0.029, enter. Okay, now the power key on your calculator is this arrow key right here, right above the division. It's kind of blurry. That's the exponent. So to do an exponent, I just go exponent, and it's going to take the previous answer. That's what the ANS stands for. It's taken the previous answer and now 5. Yep. Okay. So that's A. All right. So I look for, I gotta make sure I get the right formula. If I get the wrong formula, I'm SOL. Okay, now what I'm gonna do here is I'm looking for compound interest. I'm looking for compounded annually. So that's the second equation. Yes. Yeah, go ahead. So here's what I'm doing right here. It's just like the last one. Okay, first, second, third. Enter, exponent, enter. After each one, enter, times 5,000, and enter. And there's my answer. Okay, so we've done the first formula, we've done the second formula, and now the next one is it's being compounded. Oh no, this is an APY. All right, almost missed that. So what is the annual percentage yield? Find the annual percentage yield. So that's this very last formula down here that I'm pointing at. Okay, so to get the APY, I go 1 plus the APR, 0.048, divided by N, N is 365. And then the exponent is 365 times 1 year. It's always 1 year. And then when I'm done, I'm going to subtract 1 from that answer. So that's what it looks like. Okay, now again, order matters. Okay, so we got to do this first. Actually, we're going to do this division first. Okay, so the order that you do this, that's first. Then you're going to add 1 second. Then you're going to do your exponent third. And then you're going to subtract 1 fourth. Okay. All right, so here we go. Enter. Okay, add 1. Okay, exponent 365, hit enter. And now subtract 1. Okay, so if you're doing 4.8 and it was compounded daily, you're really earning 4.9% interest. Okay, once, twice, 4.92. So you're better than you think. It's not 4.8, it's actually 4.92. Okay, 4.92. All right. Use the appropriate compound interest formula to compute the account balance after the stated period of time. So let's see. Quarter. So N is 4. So I'm using the third formula right here. Alrighty. Okay, quarter. And then 4 times 7 years. Okay. All right, and then here's your order. You do the division first. Then you do the addition second. Then you do your exponent third. And then you do your multiplying by 10,000 fourth. Okay, so 0.04 divided by 4, enter. Plus 1, enter. Okay, exponent 4 times 7, enter. And then times 10,000. Enter. That seems like a lot. 132,000? Make sure I didn't type something in wrong here.
Yeah, I think you did.
You think I typed something in wrong?
Yeah.
Yep, me too. That seems really big. Okay, so that divided by 4 equals, and then add 1. Okay, yeah.
13, 2 as well.
Yep. Okay, then I added 1. Now I'm going to multiply or raise it to the 4 times 7. Okay, and then did that. Now multiply it by 10,000. There we go. That makes a little bit more sense. One, 3, 2, 1, 2, 9, 1. Once I write. Okay. Okay, use the appropriate formula. Let's see, we're doing, it's compound interest, 6%, and it's compounded daily. So we're using the same formula, but now n is 365. Everything else, it's the same process. Okay, 1 plus 0.06 divided by 365. 365 times 4. Okay. First, second, third, fourth. All right, 0.06 divided by 365. Okay, plus 1. Exponent 365 times 4 times 18,000. Oh, I got one extra 2 in there. 22882.0. Yeah.
What does the U stand for again in continuously?
Oh, well, I think we're going to get to that here in just a second. It stands for the number 2.7, but you're going to use it on your calculator. I think it's the next question after this. All right. So now here's another APY, guys. So now we're back to this. You got to switch gears. You're back down to the formula here at the bottom to get your APY. So APY, because it says find the annual percentage yield. 1 plus 0.14 divided by 12. That's our compounded. That's going to be 12 times 1 year. Clear? 0.114 divided by 12. Okay. Plus 1. Plus 1. And then I'm going to subtract 1. Okay, I'm going to double check this because that's a really small number. Okay. So 0.0114 divided by 12. Okay, plus 1. Exponent 12 times 1. There we go. Okay, then subtract 1. Okay, so this is 0.0145. Yes? When do you do that? At the very end. So this would be 1.15 when I rounded it. So when you're doing this, I'll put the order that you do it. Okay, so that's first. Second. Now, if for some reason you get that answer that had the like e to the negative 4 on it that I had gotten earlier, that's just scientific notation. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so let's say you did this and you ended up with a final answer in scientific notation. 0.0114. Let me just show you how to read it on your calculator. Divide by 12. Okay, now this isn't the final answer, but let's say that it was, and you got that for your final answer. This is what you might have been asking about. What does the E mean? I don't know if this was the E that you're talking about. Okay, so this answer on your calculator, 9.5 e to the negative 4. Okay, what that means is that's 9.5 times 10 to the negative 4. So what you do is you take your decimal and you move it 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the left. That's what that number actually is. That's what. Okay, but that's not what you got on this. Okay, so then let's see. We did that. That was 1. Add 1. That's 2. Exponent is 3. Subtract 1 is 4. And then convert that into a percent. So for me, that would be 1.15. Nope. 1.1. Yeah, that's it. Okay. All right, now you get into continuously. So your money's growing every single instant. All right, so when your money's growing continuously, now we're down to this formula. Okay, so A equals P E A R times Y. Okay. So 9,000's my principal. E, my APR 0.044, and the year is 6. All right, now E is known as the natural base. So to get it on your calculator, okay, you press the second and then the division key. Okay, so if I go second division, I get a little E. Okay, now I'm going to do my exponent, power 0.044 times 6. And now multiply that by 9 grand. All right, and number 10's same type of question, just different numbers. Second divide, there's my E, exponent 0.065 times 4 years times my principal. All right, now we change gears. Okay, so up to this point, you haven't had to do any algebra. You haven't had to move anything around. Okay. All right, so these next two questions, this next question is when you got to find how much to start with. All right, so suppose you start saving today for a $12,000 down payment that you plan to make on a condo in 8 years. Assume that you make no deposits into the account after your initial deposit. The account has daily compounding, APR is 4.2%. How much would you need to deposit? So how much do you have to start with? Right? So we're doing compounding, let's see, how often? Compounded daily. All right. So compounded daily means this, right? This guy right here. Okay. Now, this is different than the other ones that we've done so far. We've got to do a little bit of algebra on this one. Okay, so let's so A equals P All right, now I'm going to start filling in what the problem tells me. Okay, I want to end up with $12,000. So that's my A. Equals. The question is asking you, what do you start with? Okay, so 1 plus, let's see, 0.042 compounded daily. So N is 365. And you're going to do it for 8 years. So 365 times 8. All right, so here's the order in which you're going to do this. Okay, we're going to simplify this whole parentheses business. All right, so to do that, okay, you're going to do this. And you're going to 1 second. And then you're going to do the exponent third. And then leave in your calculator. Okay, so then you're going to have this big number in your calculator, big long number, and you want to leave it there. Okay, so clear, get all that out, so 0.042 divided by 365. All right. Okay, I'm going to double check that. 0.042 divided by 365. All right, now I'm going to add 1. Add 1. Enter. Now I'm going to go exponent 365 times 8. Don't round that number. Leave it in your calculator. Okay, now when I round here, I'm going to be rounding it, but I'm not going to round it before I'm done. You don't have to write a super long number. Okay, so that's where we're at right now. Okay, now to get P by itself, I'm going to divide by what's in my calculator. Okay, so here's how you can do it without having to retype it. 12,000 divided by second answer. So it uses the last answer, which was this, and puts it in that place, and then hit enter. And that's how much money you need to start with. Okay, yeah.
Is quarterly compounding 4 or 2?
4. Quarterly is 4. All right, so let's see, 8, 5, 7, 5, 64. Okay, so this question, number 12, is just like the last one, where you have got for how much do you want to start with. All right. So you just set it up and change the numbers based on what you've got. So I want to end, my goal is 75 grand. I want to know how much to start with. First, second, third, and then leave in your calculator. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it in there. I'm going to write it down over here, but I'm going to leave it in so I don't want to use the rounded number. That's the rounded number. Okay, so 75,000 divided by second answer. Excuse you. There it is. You'd have to start with 30 grand in order to reach that goal at that particular percentage rate. All right, we'll do the remaining ones tomorrow. I would do them tonight, and I just go through this and practice doing them. This is what you're going to see on your test. I think the last couple have to do with logarithms. Yep. Yes, sir.
I was doing MXL-22 because I didn't finish that one. So I'm on the first one, the one that we
Oh, okay.
doing.